everybody, I'm going to do something a little bit different today. Today, I'm going to teach you how to properly brush curly hair while it's wet. And I know what you must be thinking. She's going to teach us to brush our hair when it's wet. That seems like such a simple, ridiculous video idea, but I promise you that it's not. So this video is for all the cosmetologists who have a hard time with textured hair. It's for all the parents who have to fight with their children while they brush their hair and their child is screaming their heads off. This is for the person who just started their hair journey and they have no idea what to do. This video is also for the people who have been following the curly girl method, who have been doing finger raking to get the knots out of their hair and just can't get a smooth curl. Let's go. First thing you're going to do is obviously start with wet hair. Make sure it's pretty darn wet. Take your Denman brush or whatever brush you want to be using. Make sure that your bristles don't have those little balls at the tips. And if they do, make sure that they are connected really well. Make sure that there is a seamless connection between the ball and the actual bristle. Otherwise, your hair will get caught in there. There are a few basic rules that you have to follow when brushing curly hair when it's wet. Number one, if you hear while you're brushing it, it's because you're ripping the hair. Don't rip the hair. It shouldn't be something that's really loud. Curly hair should be treated like silk. It's delicate. Right before you brush your hair, you want to put on a leave-in conditioner or even a little bit of the conditioner that you used in the shower, just at the ends. You want to make sure that you give your hair a lot of slide. If there's a lot of slide, it won't get stuck, it won't pull, there will be less friction and less breakage. Get your leave-in or whatever product you choose to make your hair slippery. So we want your hair wet. We want to use a product that allows for a lot of slippage. Concentrate it in your ends. What I typically like to do is start in the front and separate the crown from the bottom of my hair. So I'm just going to loosely do it. You don't need to move any of your hair out of the way unless you have a lot of hair and it's really thick. I usually start with just this quarter. And what I'm going to do is start at the tips and very gently work my way from the tips to the root. Never start up here. If you go to a hairstylist, by the way, and they start brushing your hair out up here and this is happening, your hair is being pulled, run. Because if they don't know the basics of brushing, they're not going to know how to cut, they're not going to know how to style. Run! Start at the ends. Once all the knots are out of the ends, you're going to work your way up. Hold this part tightly. It won't pull from your roots if this part is being held the way that it should. This is so important when you are brushing a child's hair. It'll be the difference between them running from you once they see a brush in your hand or them just sitting there quietly letting you do it. And I know this because my son has curly hair too. Work your way up and have patience. Notice you're not hearing if when you brush your hair, you're seeing that little pieces are kind of falling all over the place, it means you're breaking your hair. It means you need more slip and you have to be more gentle. It might even mean that you have to replace your brush. I use a Denman, I'll link it for you below. And the other thing about curly hair, unlike people with straight hair, we cannot brush our hair when it's dry. So what happens is we lose about 100 hairs a day naturally. That's totally fine. Since we can't brush our hair when it's dry, those hairs that will shed no matter what kind of get stuck in there. So when you brush your hair, once you get most of the tangles out, you're going to start up, kind of drag your fingers. Again, this is why slippage is important, and use a really good leave-in or conditioner. And you kind of want to, when I use the word pull, I say it very loosely, just to get, I don't know if you can see, the little hairs that would have shed on their own out. Because if they stay in there, they're going to cause friction, they're going to pull in themselves, they're going to damage your hair. They're going to damage themselves. So put the brush in, gently follow through. I'm just gliding my hair behind the brush and getting out those hairs that would have fallen. Up to the root and all the way down. Now all the knots are out. I could never get knots out or have hair this smooth if I were finger raking or using a wide tooth comb. If you feel a little bit more comfortable, if you happen to have a really tight curl and you feel more comfortable starting with a wide tooth comb, do it. I don't think it's necessary though. Make sure that if your ends start to dry a little bit, you re-wet them. Slippage, slippage, slippage. That's the key. Hold the hair really tight so that nothing pulls from the roots. Start at the ends. Work your way up. If you feel overwhelmed with the amount of hair that you have, divide it into a smaller section. Keep going up. Now that we're up a little bit higher by the roots, I'm gonna follow behind the brush and get out those excess hairs that normally would have come out them on their own. And that's done. I've gone to so many stylists where they had no idea what they were doing, and some of them even had curly hair, and they would start here and just yank, and I could hear my hair breaking. And there was one time I even went for a haircut. Oh my God. And I left with more split ends than what I started with because she was just hacking away at my hair. I went to Long Island Beauty School. Shout out Long Island. Yes, I walked the dog in August. And one of the teachers couldn't even brush my hair correctly. I remember thinking, what are you doing? Now I'm gonna work my way back. I'm gonna stay away from the crown. My hair is 3B, 3C. That's the texture. And the crown tends to have a lot more frizz. It's kind of in its own world. It does its own thing, so I do that part separately. If you notice that you have different hair textures in the different parts of your head, do those as they come. Start at the tips. And have patience. If you have to go slow, go slow. Work your way up. Fingers are dragging behind the brush, getting out the excess hair. See, I have no knots right now. And this doesn't hurt at all. There was one time I got my hair chemically relaxed when I was 13, I think I was, and I had to go to Queens, New York. I went into the basement of a salon. It was this place, it was like illegal, and they had lard-based relaxer. And I had really long curly hair and thick curly hair, and I had no idea that all of the knots had to be taken out of my hair before they could apply the relaxer. And I remember sitting there for hours before the appointment with, you know, my mom was trying to detangle my hair. I was trying to detangle my hair, and I had these two other women just hacking away at my hair, and it hurt so much. And if they would have known that you do it like this, it would have saved my 13-year-old ass a world of hurt. And if you know how to brush your hair out correctly, that will give you the best chance at the smoothest curls and the less frizz. Frizz is caused by lack of moisture. It's also caused by the hairs not clumping together. That's why curl clumps are so important. So all of you cosmetologists, when you have a person show up for an appointment and they have hair like mine, you won't look at them and go, you'll know exactly what to do when their hair is wet and they're in your chair. When I was a teenager, I went to get my hair cut, and I showed up, took my hair tie out, and the two stylists argued right in front of me over who was gonna take me because they were so petrified of doing my hair. That's crazy. If you're a cosmetologist, you should know how to do every type of texture. Okay, now, the crown. And it's the same process, I just like doing it separately because the texture is a little different. So you just get the tips. My crown's actually not that bad. Follow through. And now look, not a single knot in my hair, and it's not going, it's absolutely fine. Make sure you get out all of those hairs that have fallen that are stuck in the curls. And that's really all there is to it. But I hope you understand why it's important to know how to brush out curly hair properly, because you could actually end up creating split ends by doing this improperly. So now is the time where you would put in your styling product. Now is the time that you would start to brush your hair properly for the style. I'm going to link a video below. It's the easiest curl routine ever. It teaches you how to style your hair or get your hair set up for an air dry really well. Thank you for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe to keep up with me and my content.